Now, some listeners may think that it takes, obviously it takes a lot of courage to leave what you're doing, but would it take a lot of money as well to do this?
That was just look, the situation in my particular case just happened to fall. We all have this, everybody has a window, a chance where the gate's left open. You can choose to run through that gate, embrace whatever's behind that gate, but most of us are scared. Now, this is not a decision that I've made very lightly or that I've just, in the recent past, I've thought about making a run. You know, I once thought I would love to just catch a flight to Brazil and where nobody knows me. I'm doing the same thing now, but right. I've always wanted to just go somewhere where nobody knows me, and I just want to be left alone to see what happens.
Interesting. I think lots of people have had that thought.
I hope anyone that listens to this, don't take crap from anybody. I'm in a situation, and I've always felt that I don't take crap in my alter egos. When I'm wearing the mask, in whether it be a negotiation or whatever it might be, it's a mask. But one thing that I feel is constant is that I don't like to take crap from anybody. Despite the mask that I'm wearing,
right.
I don't really like to negotiate. So I can tell already that my natural instincts will be to just don't negotiate. So this will make it easier for me. And I think if you think about it, and it's only just occurred to me now, the fact that I'm doing this is because my natural instinct is don't take shit from anybody.
Right.
So I've now drawn a line. Right, we're not taking crap. Let's find out who you are. Let's do this. 6 months. We could do another interview maybe 6 months from now.
Love to.
And we'll revisit. But at this moment in time, it's 0. I'm at 0. All I have is a name.
Right.
I don't have a character that I'm comfortable with. I will refuse to accept any character that I have portrayed in the past easily. I will disassemble myself and only reinstill and reinvigorate the characteristics that I identify to be truly me.
Right. And just so we have it clear, so everyone understands, you're currently living in a certain place. You're going to take a plane, go somewhere else with a different name.
Yeah, I've created a
new person. You're leaving your job, leaving your place, leaving your home, leaving all your family, pretty much. And you're going to just take up a new identity and start from absolute zero. Every day you wake up, you're going to see what you feel like doing and do that like in a state of total nature. Is that
Absolutely.
correct?
It's a blank page. I will arrive at this particular island that is a community, a very large community, well-known community. I will make friends because I want to make friends.
Right.
I will not make friends because I am paid to make friends to influence them to do whatever they do, which is my commercial corporate career.
Okay.
Now it's, if I want to meet somebody because I find them interesting, I want to listen to who they are because of me. I'm not being paid to be me. And this is great. It's very invigorating. In the past, so just to make some things, bring some things into, I used to do very large deals. I used to research the individual that I would be negotiating with.
Right.
I would know about the name of their wife, the name of their children, the name of their cat, whether they played golf or whatever. I would then research psychologically what would appeal to them in order for me to get the contract signed off by them. So I would mimic or create an individual that they would find interesting enough to trust and sign off on.
Right, okay.
So now I have no one but me to convince. And I'm going to be a little bit harsh on myself because I will know when I will try to... I wonder whether we actually try to appease ourselves. You know, I guess this is raw for me. I have no map. I have no idea. So do I create somebody that I want to be?
Right.
Or do I create someone that I am?
That's the
do
question.
I create?
That's the question.
The word create in itself is a problem for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to create anything other than... What is it? I guess the question is, who am I? That's a tough question. And I'm pretty sure psychiatrists and psychologists and philosophers all over throughout history have asked themselves.
It's the eternal debate, essence, isn't it? Essence versus freedom, if you like. Like, is there an essence that we strive to try to find ourselves, as we say, or as existentialists might say, that no, there is no essence. We just create as we go along because we're totally free, and that freedom obviously causes a certain anxiety. And
absolutely.
so it's a question of the ages, isn't it?
I mean, I know I'm right-handed. That's about as much as I know.
Right. Okay.
And that's not much. I think we instinctively know, intuitively know whether we're left or right-handed. That's what I'm trying to get to is, what am I intuitively, naturally?
Sure. Psychologically, because physically it's easier. Like you say,
physically, absolutely.
You see children, they go and grasp something with their left hand or right hand immediately, or they kick a ball with their left foot.
That's right.
And they keep kicking, and he's going to be left-footed. But psychologically, when we're born, is there a set of traits that is going to make us a certain way, or is it totally influenced by the environment and the choices we make, or both?
Well, as I said before, I mean, we've all been given three things: our name, our religion, and our nationality.
Right.
It's incredibly difficult to disconnect yourself from that.
Mm-hmm.
The easiest one in my particular, in all our cases, is we all have the opportunity to change our name.
Yep.
That doesn't change your past, though. So you've got to really embrace the name that you've elected. Okay, so there's no point in changing your name if you're going to be the same person.
Right.
So if you're going to, I'm not reinventing myself. That's something that I've had to make clear. By giving myself a name, it doesn't mean that I'm creating a new character, because that defeats the whole purpose.
But because it'll be like if you're a method actor and you're about to make a movie, so you go 6 months into an island and become the Joker, for example. You don't want to do that. You want to create a totally new existence, if you like, and feel connected to it. Yes.
Yeah. Now,
for a time,
it's more challenging. It's more challenging than it sounds, because to feel comfortable in your own skin, I can't change my appearance. Mm-hmm. And that's not my intention to do that. That's who I physically am. So you're right, 100%. You said physically, if I'm right-handed, I'm physically right-handed. If I'm 3 foot tall, which I'm not, but if I were 3 foot tall, that's what I have to deal with, and that's all I've got to work with. Mm-hmm. But those things also influence who you become. You're quite tall, so you have a presence. As soon as you walk in a room, you've had a presence for as long as you reached your height. Mm-hmm. So you're probably not even aware that height, physical height, has an influence on other individuals.
Okay. Yep.
So I know psychologically that people that are taller generally become successful.
Oh, yeah?
Because people that are shorter subconsciously feel inferior to them.
At another battle.
Submissive.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That you've been given the opportunity. Now, shorter people have to earn or navigate to equal or exceed that advantage that you have. So, we are. It's a race. We are all competitive by nature. Mm-hmm. If you boil this down to the Stone Age, let's take it all back to the Stone Age. They never wore suits.
Right.
We've evolved to that. But the progress, the evolution, the evolutionary process,
Right.
Those cavemen had somehow worked out that to be better or superior, we have to do this, that, and the other. So we've been through the Renaissance and all those different eras throughout history. But there's one thing: everybody wants to be superior. I don't need to be superior. I don't want to be superior. I just want to be me. I don't want. I don't think I intuitively want to be superior to anybody. I'm more interested in me. And look, if I had it, I don't have the patience or the ability to just live on a deserted island by myself. That would be probably an easier when you're left alone with your own thoughts and you've got nothing else, and that's it. That's pure. You couldn't get any more pure than that.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but we are social creatures, and
without a doubt,
I'm a social creature, and I can't take it too far. I'm curious to how I will engage.
Because you don't want to suffer. You actually want to progress as a human being.
Yeah.
Being on your own, totally on your own, would be a form of suffering, of torture, I think.
Absolutely. I will become more. I will no doubt pursue a career in whatever it is that I identify to be a best fit for me. And you've known me for a long time, circumstance. I used to be a commercial artist. That was, I felt that was my natural. I wanted to pursue that, art, creativity, drawing, painting. That was the circumstance. I had my own business. Unfortunately, I didn't have the academic understanding that I had to pay tax at the time. I was quite young. So I got into trouble for not having paid tax.
Right.
To recover from that, I joined an airline. And I loved that environment, and that launched a career in that direction, in that field. What I had turned my back on is my original concept.
Oh, okay.
And I failed myself because I never returned to it. So smoldering in my soul was this creative, artistic person striving to get out, and you've seen it.
Yes.
And we do little bursts of creativity here and there, but it's not enough. It doesn't feed your soul.
Yeah.
There's something lacking. So I've perfected the career path that I had to take as a result of an error of not having paid tax, and I always bring it back to that point. That is where it went wrong, technically. I should have been pursuing a more creative environment, but I ended up.
You got on the wrong train.
I got on the wrong train. As a necessity, I had to catch a different train. Unfortunately, I stayed on that train longer than I should have.
Yeah, we all have.
And we all have the opportunity to get off that train.
Yeah.
Get off the train and go in a different direction. Yeah. But first, you've got to realize that you're on the wrong train.
That's right. That's the hardest part.
That's right.
And accept it.
Accept it. And to solve a problem, you've got to know that you've got one. First, you've got to admit that you have a problem.
That's right. Yeah.
So once you know that you've got a problem, unfortunately, I've learned that late in life, but early enough to enjoy whatever it is. I'm comfortable that I will die knowing who I am. My closest friends, I'm sure that I am. Through the cracks, I am who I am to my closest and dearest. Yeah. They see who...
We all emanate a bit of ourselves.
Yeah, we emanate primarily who we are, but we never see ourselves through their eyes. So, for example, you've known me for eternity, you see me through your eyes, but you have an opinion of me.
That's right.
And I'd love to put myself in your head and look at me and think, wow, is that... Wow, that's amazing.
Well, even physically we can't see ourselves. The only image we have is through a mirror, isn't it?
Yeah, and you take for granted the presence that you have.
Yeah.
So I believe that as a result of the nature is that it's a tricky thing. I mean, it's a battle. If we're short, we have to create the tools to be imposing enough to outmaneuver a tall person. I'm not suggesting. I'm repeating the fact that I'm implying that you're very tall and I'm very short, but that's only a contrasting example.
Right.
I'm not that short.
No.
And I don't see myself as short, except the fact that when I see photos of myself amongst other people, I tend to be the shortest one in the room, but I'm not a midget type
But
thing.
physically, that's quite a clear distinction. But it can also relate to psychological, intellectual shortage, if you like.
Yeah.
Can make us also fall behind. Some of
To
our
those of
greatest artists, greatest leaders have been challenged, if you like, with regards to stature. I mean, I think the mind is so much more powerful, and that really is what comes through, and the personality what comes
Overcoming that is, we can basically, we can surrender and focus too heavily on something which is a weakness.
That's it.
I don't. Thankfully, I've not. My height difference as an example. Some people have big noses. Some people have big ears, and that makes them intimidated by people that don't have big ears, and they feel insecure. I've never felt insecure. Confidence is a very powerful tool in any environment.
Well, we were looking. Well, today we sat down together before doing this podcast and watching a wonderful documentary on Stephen Hawkins. So I think he's the perfect example of how one can overcome that type of physical obstacle.
One of the most powerful minds of our century in history is an individual in a wheelchair that can't even speak for himself physically. He needs help physically to just to get around. Yet he is the most powerful mind with an IQ of estimated at 180, something like that, approximately. And we did discuss that as well. What is an IQ at the end of the day? What is it? So again, what are we? Are we the product of everything that we've ever read? Are we the product of our physical appearance? Maybe I will end up being find a religion of some description, because maybe I will just come to the conclusion that I am purely a soul,
right,
and my physical appearance is my physical presence.
Okay.
I would like to think that I can get to my soul somehow in a 6-month period. If I have to extend, I will. There's no doubt. If I feel comfortable enough. But I think that 6 months at a time in any environment should be enough. Now, I might move to Europe for 6 months. I will already have established quite a reasonable understanding, and I will then think, well, you know what? I experimented on this particular island, but if I were to choose my nationality, maybe Brazil is a good place for me to have been born. I've decided upon my name, I then decide upon my nationality. And then the hard part will be, religion is a soulful thing. I see it as a placebo, but for this is a tough world. Being an atheist, it's not easy. Because you are it. Whatever decision that you make, you are accountable for the results of those actions. For those friends of mine that are religious, they are entitled. Everyone's entitled to believe whatever they want to believe.
That's right.
But I see it as a placebo. But I will encourage, if that's what you need to fulfill you, don't throw it away. Explore it further, but question. I did study I almost joined the clergy to become a priest in the very beginning. I do come from a Catholic background. I went to a Christian school.
Yes.
But there was a moment in time where I started questioning, is this real? I started dissecting it, pulling it apart.